I just turned 16 when I met my boyfriend Harvey. He told his friend that he liked me, and it was passed on like this awkward primary school moment. I was really nervous about having a boyfriend. I had 3 in high school that all lasted a mere few weeks, and these boys were really nice. I just think it was very obvious that I wasn't ready for a boyfriend, and I had no idea how to act or what to do. I fell so in love with Harvey. At 16, I honestly thought he was the man I was going to be with for the rest of my life. But I was 16 and stupid. But our relationship was odd. Firstly, he lied about his age. He told me he was 20. I was okay with that, and to my surprise, my mother was too. He had a respected family, so the assumption would be that their son would also live up to that reputation. And Harvey's friend approached me one night to tell me that he was lying about his age and that I should confront him on it, so I did. He apologised and he admitted that he was 21 and said that he thought I might have turned him down if I felt he was too old for me. So he was 21, big deal. A few weeks later, his friend approached me about it again, so when Harvey fell asleep, I went through his wallet to check his licence, and the following day Harvey had to admit he was actually 24. We'd already been dating for a short time then, so I didn't care, and our relationship lasted just short of 2 years. I thought Harvey loved me so much, but I would later find out that I was nothing to him. I mean, looking back, what else was a 24-year-old doing with a 16-year-old? But at 16, well, I guess I just thought, I don't know what I thought. I was 16. Every second of my free time was spent with Harvey. I never questioned him. I went where he wanted to go and I did whatever he wanted to do. He was my escape from my house. Well, okay, that's not true. He was my escape from my stepdad. When we were alone, he was so sweet with me. We never argued once in the 2 years we knew each other. But I think that maybe that was because I was so compliant and so eager to please him. I just never wanted him to ever leave me. So one night, I jumped in Harvey's car not knowing where we were going. It was dark and I wasn't really paying attention. We stopped at a house and I was told we were going in for a few drinks. The house was surrounded by trees and the drive there was dark due to the lack of streetlights. I felt uneasy, but of course I didn't say anything because I decided that good girlfriends don't question, they trust and comply. So I was greeted by Harvey's friend Kane and he shook my hand and gave me a beer. Kane then gestured for me to go into the lounge room while him and Harvey disappeared into another room. A short time later, Harvey came back to sit on the couch and softly kissed me on the cheek, and I don't know, I thought that was sweet. And then Kane walked in to sit on the couch, so I decided to move down to the floor. I laid on my back, perched up on my elbows, and watched TV while Harvey and Kane were talking behind me. I don't know what they were saying because they were speaking too softly, so I just continued to watch TV until curiosity got the better of me. So I turned around and I could see that Harvey looked like he was passed out on the couch. Now, I was extremely naive about anything to do with drugs, and looking back, surely he must have taken something because Harvey had gone from chatting on the couch to having his eyes closed with this sleepy grin on his face. But back then, I wasn't sure what to think, so I just turned back around to the TV. And then I heard Kane whisper to Harvey, and again I couldn't hear what was said. And then Kane was standing above me. He laid on top of me, and in a second, he pulled my knickers aside from inside my skirt, and yeah, I'm not even going to finish that sentence. And I didn't react. I'm not sure why. For a brief second, I felt that maybe I did hear what was said behind me and wondered if Harvey actually gave Kane permission. I didn't want this, but I didn't do anything about it. I just laid there. I didn't say anything. I just laid there and let him use my body. I felt disgusting and embarrassed that was my worth. I tilted my head to the left and studied the long neck of VB he left on the floor beside me. Like, he just put his beer right next to my head. I remember that the bottle was about 3/4 full, and I remember the condensation on the glass, and I remember watching a droplet fall to the floor. I could see that Kane had been picking at the label and it curled where it had been torn. And then he was done. He picked up his beer and he went to bed. I stayed there that night, curled up beside my boyfriend on a mattress on the floor. I wanted to leave, but Harvey was passed out and I didn't know where I was. There were no streetlights and mobile phones weren't a big thing for most teenagers in the 90s. Actually, I don't know if any of us had phones back then. I can't remember when it was I got my first mobile phone. In the morning, Kane came in and laid down beside me, and he tiptoed his fingers up my leg. It made me feel so sick, him touching me, and I pushed him away this time. And he just laughed, and I felt as though he thought this was just some sick game. I shook Harvey awake and begged him to take me home. And I told no one about it, and Harvey and I never spoke about it. I wasn't even sure if Harvey knew, and I was so embarrassed and ashamed of it that I didn't want to talk about it, and I hoped he wouldn't bring it up. I was upset that it happened, but I was upset that I let it happen. I kept asking myself why it happened, or why I let it happen, why I didn't say no. Like, that's what girls are taught. No means no, and the absence of that is consent. So why didn't I say anything to Kane? Why did I just lay there silent? He was a big guy who was, I don't know, in his 30s maybe? I'm not sure. At 16, to me he looked like he might have been about that age. And perhaps that was part of my non-reaction. Like, I just met this guy, my boyfriend's passed out behind me, and in a second this older, bigger guy is on top of me. Maybe I didn't have time to react, and in my years of overthinking it, I've invented extra time that wasn't there. Time where I felt I could have reacted differently. Or maybe I'm just trying to make an excuse for being too weak to stand up for myself. And maybe Kane didn't think he was doing anything wrong because I didn't tell him so. So I couldn't be upset about it then, could I? How could I explain that to anyone when I didn't get it myself? And I couldn't ask anyone how I should feel about it because I didn't want anyone to know. I didn't tell my mum. I felt like she would have been so upset or disappointed. I mean, not in me, but in herself. I knew my mum would somehow manage to blame herself, and that wouldn't have been fair. And I didn't want anyone to see me as that girl. The girl who asked for it or let it happen. I didn't want anyone to know how disgusting I was. I didn't want anyone to treat me different, whether that was disgust or pity. So I decided no one could ever know about it, and I never spoke about it, not even with Harvey, and he never once brought it up with me. I figured it was something I didn't want, but also didn't prevent or stop. So I just decided that I would not put myself in that position ever again. Alright, so I'm not going to talk about the subject matter of that piece. I'm in a cute dress with pockets, and that's all I care about today. I'm actually not sure about how I feel about this piece. You know that I love all the splashes and all the texture from the heat gun, and it was really fun for me to do. And that pink, oh my gosh, I love it. I feel like I could smell the colours in this piece. But yeah, I'm still undecided about, I don't know, how to feel about it. I think I could have done a bit better on this one, but it was fun, and I appreciate you stopping by and watching my videos, and I will see you in the next one.